In just a few days, we're going to celebrate Noah's 10th birthday. And I've always tried to find ways to celebrate him that are a little bit different each year. And a lot of that is for me, just how I am continuing the process of grieving him and just wanting to really remember him and the impact that he's had and he's made, even in his short life. And so I want to just take the time to talk about him and what God's done in my life over the past 10 years. And it's just even crazy to think 10 years has gone by since I last held him. And don't hear any of this wrong. I am beyond grateful for the 3 healthy children I have and the 1 healthy one on the way. But there's always somebody missing. And, it's another birthday and it's another year without him, and I don't even know what it was like to have a year with him. And it's the same handful of memories and just trying to sort through those and always trying to remember something new, as if 10 years later I'll magically know something else about him. It's a bit maddening. It's like doing the same puzzle every year, but I still can't find all the pieces. And if you don't know about Noah, just the backstory is when I was 19, I found out I was pregnant. Halfway through that pregnancy, I found out I was having a little boy, but there were some issues. They detected a chromosomal abnormality called Trisomy 18, which the medical field will say rendered him incompatible for human life. They kind of slap Trisomy 18 babies with that label. And in a way, it implies that the child's life holds less value because of its potential brevity. So I've never really liked that phrase. But I had him at 38 weeks. He was 3 pounds and 2 ounces, 16 inches, and he lived for a total of 54 minutes. And that's still really hard to say, because I really believe that God was going to heal Noah and that the medical field would be dumbfounded by the miraculous life. And it's just not the way that God had it. 10 years ago, I sat in the sanctuary of the church that I currently am a part of, in the first row, second chair to the right, and just stared straight ahead at this 3-foot table. And on that 3-foot table was an 8x10 frame with a black and white photo in it. And just to the right of that was the smallest casket I have ever seen, 18 inches in length, with my firstborn child inside. And I thought to myself that I had lost my purpose in that moment, because I wasn't able to be Noah's mom. And there wasn't anything more for me. And I really didn't want there to be. I only wanted him. I put my identity in that little boy, and I would spend the next 10 years trying to find out ways that I could just talk about him. And when I say that there's this theme of redemptive love just interwoven throughout the story, I could have never anticipated that 9 years later I would be in that same sanctuary, walking down the center aisle, just a few steps away from where that table was 9 years prior, that held the casket that held my little boy. And I would walk up the platform stage and I would get married. And the pastor that would officiate that wedding was the same pastor that 9 years prior had officiated Noah's funeral. And that while I got married, that pastor's wife would be sitting and watching me while pregnant with her daughter, who had also been diagnosed with trisomy 18. Also was told that she was incompatible for human life. I think the whole problem is in the compatibility word. How can you be incompatible for something you were never actually made for? God never intended for any of the brokenness we experience, that we've made choices that brought that brokenness on ourselves, but He's a God who can restore those things and heal those things. Throughout the 10 years, there's this interwoven theme of redemptive love, and I'm seeing how God took me from really broken places and began to restore to me joy and restore to me hope. I'm confident that God has used Noah's 54 minutes of life here on earth to tell a powerful story of what God can do with a life that has surrendered to Him, and it doesn't matter where you've been. You can be in a place of brokenness and difficulty and be stuck and feel like there's no way out, but there is. It can be an abusive relationship, an addiction, or maybe just trying to live under the weight of expectations that you've put on yourself. It really can just be so many things, but you get to decide if you want to let those things drop. And then you don't have to pick them up again. You can let Christ pick you up and grab you by the hand, walk you step by step, and meet you where you're at. You know, I mean it when I say that it's difficult. You are going to love people who will never love you back. Maybe you'll be teased or taunted for your belief, but when you've experienced God, there's just no going back. There's nothing that's ever going to fill that space that He's carved out for Himself when He created you. I know that God carved out a place in my heart for Noah, and there's just no filling that until I hold him again. But I know I will.